Catherine?
Be quiet! Don't look at it!
Greetings Game Watchers, I'm Chris Capel and welcome to the review of SOMA. Without doubt the scariest game ever made is Frictional's Amnesia: The Dark Descent. The Lovecraft-inspired story, the feeling of vulnerability, a sanity meter based on darkness, monsters you weren't allowed to look at and sometimes couldn't even see at all, and the ability to hide in wardrobes elevated it to the top of the class in terror. Frictional have since been hard at work at new IP SOMA, which can be summed up with a simple phrase: Bioshock meets Amnesia. Here's the point why you should back away and give Frictional my lunch money. The story is one of the best parts of SOMA and I utterly refuse to spoil any of it. Keeping things short, you play Simon Jarrett, who wakes in a deep sea facility with no memory of how he got there, but it becomes obvious that something has gone very wrong. There's no people around and killer robots, killer monsters and killer robot monsters roam the halls and the seabed. There's a lot of optional lore to find that really builds the world and gives you a glimpse into what went wrong. A lot may have to do with the AI that controls the facility going nuts, but there's clearly something else more insidious at work. So far, so Bioshock, System Shock, Doom 3 or any number of similar games. SOMA however diverges from expected paths immediately, and I really wish I could have a good old conversation about how, but you'll just have to trust me. The storyline in SOMA is great, compelling and unfolds naturally and believably. Without spoiling things, we'll just say that Simon does not have amnesia, and that his interactions with sort of companion Catherine make for some of the most natural conversations in video games, with even moments of levity to lighten the tension. Frictional also really dig into deep moral and philosophical discussions in a way I totally didn't expect, but greatly appreciate. Not many horror games make you think while they're throwing indestructible ghosts at you. And those indestructible ghosts do come, and how. I'm going to say that I personally do not think that SOMA is as scary as Amnesia: The Dark Descent, but it does get close. At the start it's merely creepy and a bit nerve-wracking, and the initial monsters prove easily avoidable, but a few hours in we're introduced to more formidable foes. However, I don't know if I'm just more resistant to scares after Amnesia, but I was more enthralled with the mystery of SOMA rather than its horror. I was still enthralled, but in a different way I expected. Still, the horror was definitely high class and a lot of it doesn't involve monsters. There's a couple of features though that defines it as a Frictional title rather than just a gunless Bioshock. First is the entirely mouse-driven control system that allows the player to pick up and examine anything and move objects with gestures, which was great in the first Penumbra and is still great now. Second is that beyond avoiding hideous creatures and general exploration, a lot of SOMA consists of puzzles. You do have to think of SOMA as an adventure game with horror elements, much like Frictional's other titles. While these puzzles can occasionally fall into the search every drawer until you find the key trap, the majority are straightforward and often interesting. We do acknowledge though that there will be a fair number of horror game fans who will be put off by these puzzles as they slow things down, but they're a huge improvement over Amnesia for sure. The graphics aren't quite PT level, but they're pretty great, especially all the underwater scenes which run rings around Bioshock. The sound design is cool too, creating a wonderfully oppressive atmosphere. The only minor complaints I have beyond it being not as pant-wenting as Amnesia are that it's a little linear, and that initial loading times can be long. That's pretty much it. SOMA is a truly excellent gaming experience, with the only flaws coming from your own personal expectation. If you're expecting a game as terrifying as Amnesia, and without any adventure game style puzzles to solve, you might have some complaints. But SOMA is still scary, dripping with tension and heart-stopping moments, and it's easier to find the items you need to solve puzzles than Amnesia. It's the story and world of SOMA that is the highlight though, with a compelling storyline that really digs into deep moral issues like what makes you you, and what does it mean to be human. In the 10 or so hours it took me to finish SOMA, I was hooked for the entire experience. From shocking beginning to one of the best game endings I've seen since Portal. SOMA will destroy you emotionally, and that's a very good thing indeed. I gave SOMA an excellent score of 9.0. Thanks for watching everyone, Chris Capel and GameWatcher out. Thanks for watching again, guys. If you enjoyed the review, you can help us out by subscribing to our YouTube channel, checking out our Twitter feed, and of course visiting GameWatcher.com for all your PC gaming needs.